also have, please have a seat. We also have other representatives from the other banks, if you can as well stand up for introduction. Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana. So we look forward to an engaging session. This afternoon, we've prepared a written presentation that will be presented by our Executive Director, Madam Tuse. And after this, we will give opportunity to the representatives from the various banks to give their own additional comments on the draft Vision 2050. And then after this, we ask for an opportunity to now formally submit our combined comments on the draft document Vision 2050. So having said that, without much further ado, let me pass back to the moderator for us to proceed with this session. Lakini asanteni sana sana kwa nafasi hii mchana huu. Asante kumsikiliza.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Sabi, for such brief, precise remarks of welcoming us to this kind of engagement. And without further ado as well, let me take this opportunity to welcome the Acting Executive Secretary from the National Planning Commission, Dr. Karibu. And you will introduce us and give remarks on our side, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was looking for the English way to say Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, so I'll just say it in Swahili. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Thank you. Well, on behalf of the Executive Secretary of the Commission, I am the Deputy Executive responsible for trade and innovation. And on behalf of the Executive Secretary, we would really like to express our appreciation for accepting our call to come and contribute to this exercise of the Tanzania Development Vision, validating the Tanzania Development Vision 2050. In the short stint that I had at the Central Bank, we used to quip that just like blood is to the body, so is finance to the economic development. So this is so we realize the importance of the banking fraternity in financial intermediation and the importance that it holds in actually ensuring that we realize our development aspirations. And we are thankful, we are also grateful to note that you also have given this exercise an importance and actually attending this session, because we realized that the notice that was given was not very long. So we do appreciate that. And we are very eager and are looking forward to hearing your comments. And with me, we have I have some representatives of the leadership of the Commission. I have the Deputy Executive Secretary responsible for monitoring and evaluation. She's Dr. Linda Ezekiel. And we also have the Acting Director of National Planning. And just I'd like you to know that your comments will be taken real time, because the core team that has been responsible for drafting the vision is here, and we'll be listening to the comments. And so that the process of actually incorporating the comments as we go along takes place quickly. So I'd like to quickly introduce the members of the core team of drafting the Development Vision 2050 who are here. Please stand. Yeah, and sorry for that misstep. We also have the chairperson of the core team, Professor Semboja, who's here. The vice chairperson of the team. The team, Professor Joseph Semboja. The team is led by Honorable Ambassador Asha Rose Megiro, who could not be here with us, but she sends her greetings and regards to the team. This is a technical session, and we are here really to hear from you. The draft was officially launched by the President of Zanzibar last week, so it's a public document. So we like to believe that you had the opportunity to go through it, and we are really looking forward to getting the comments from the banking fraternity. And with that, I'd like to hand over to the moderator. Thank you.
Asante sana Dr. Rora kwa utangulizi huo. Thank you for such a wonderful briefing from National Planning Commission. I have heard from the chair that you have a presentation, and that takes me to think maybe we should change the modality of engagement, as we used to open up session for kind of interaction. Probably it's worth now to give a floor for the presenter so that we receive the presentation and we will see how the members can add up. And our real job today is to take the comments where we should or we are supposed to improve the document. If that is agreeable, Honorable Chair and the yes, so can I really welcome you for the presentation, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Tuse Jone, the Executive Director, Tanzania Bankers Association. Acting Executive Secretary, National Planning Commission, together with your entire team. The Vice Chairperson for the Vision Drafting or the Vision Technical Team, Professor Semboja, the entire Secretariat team for the Vision 2050, TBA Chairman, TBA members present, media representatives, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Asante. I would prefer to do it in Swanglish. Where necessary, kuweka msisitizo, I'll be speaking in Swahili. Thank you. I'm not so sure if you have a room or you have a slot to have engagement with other members of the financial sector, but the comments we have from TBA and what I'm going to present should be regarded as collective views of TBA, that is Tanzania Bankers Association, and not from any specific bank. And we are sharing these comments for the sake of improving the current draft, but also, as Chairman said, we'll request for official submission after this session where we can perfect the document before we do a formal submission in written form. So as I present, the comments are provided on the basis that depth and quality of finance correlate with inclusive development. In addition, financial sector development delivers its value as a driver, enabler, and catalyst. If we were to be asked to state our short contribution in one straightforward paragraph, as TBA, this is what we wish to say. This vision must include, as one of its pillars, strengthening the financial sector. It goes without any doubt that in every economy in the world, the financial sector, and most importantly the banking subsector, like in Tanzania, forms an important pillar in the structures of the economies. It is banking and financial institution that holds at the core of the stability of economies. They are capable of rekindling growth and prosperity, and even causing crises if not well managed. So if this was considered as one of the pillars, we would wish for the following to ask: unwavering support of the government to this critical sector in terms of policies, laws, and administrative actions. And the second ask will be favorable, conducive, and facilitative policy and regulatory environment at all times. Now I'll switch in Swahili kwa msisitizo. Why am I saying this? Or why are we saying this as TBA? Why are we wishing to see the financial sector as one of the pillars? Is simply because if we take a scenario on the cases of the growth of the British economy in the 19th and the early 20th centuries, it was during that time where banks and financial institutions, they determined growth and direction of financial resources. They were the ones which supported government to support production, distribution, exchange mechanism, and international trade and ventures. Wote tumeona the likes of China, Singapore, Brazil, Indonesia, na kwa kifupi nchi zote ambazo tunaona zikikua uchumi wake kwa kasi, wamefocus kwenye kumake sure financial sector ina support all that growth. Kwa hiyo wameipa special attention sekta ya benki ambayo hakuna ambaye anabisha kuwa the banking sector is the one that is a catalyst. As I said, it's a driver, it's the enabler of the economic growth. So that was one of our big wish to see in this vision document. unfortunately, hatukuwa tumeiona. And that's why I said, if we were asked one single paragraph, this is what we could have wished for. Now, with what we were able to review in the 2050, the Vision 2050 document, I'm now ready to share our observations, comments, and recommendations. And whatever I'm going to share is the initial, as I said earlier, is our initial observations, thoughts, and processes that allow us to make more contributions when we have better minds. At the moment, watu wako kwenye holiday moods. And that's why we couldn't see most of the CEOs. Yeah, it was timing ambayo was not really in favor of the rest. But we appreciate that we still have time to submit this document in writing. So on behalf of the stakeholders in the financial sector fraternity, we would like to express our appreciation to the government for allowing us to comment on the draft vision and contribute our thoughts and aspirations. We are encouraged by the level of ambitions that the Tanzania Development Vision 2050 has demonstrated and the qualities of the outcomes expected, which has been mentioned under page 6. The design of the vision has very fundamental pillars, all of which are critical to the relevance and future sustainability of the financial sector. While economic growth, human capital, and climate change are pivotal, impliedly, these elevate the role of financing in realizing the development outcomes. In terms of goals, it's notable and encouraging that out of the 20 goals that have been mentioned on that page, page 6, there are almost 16 high-level targets that finance can contribute directly and indirectly through a deeper and more affordable financial system. This calls for the financial sector to link with priority sectors and deliver better value during the entire course of implementing the Vision 2050. The game changer in realizing the development goals is a strong, inclusive, and competitive economy. A thriving economy often benefits from a vibrant financial sector. We all believe that, and we all agree to that. This desire pushes the financial sector to rethink its role and the quantum of change needed in the financial sector to meet the expectations of the economic agenda the country has chosen. It's very encouraging to learn about the heightened importance of ESGs and climate issues within the Vision 2050. This is not only important to the banking industry and the entire financial sector, but also very crucial to the future sustainability of the development outcomes of the Vision 2050 that seeks to achieve. Just like any other sector, the financial sector requires competent personnel, that is human capital development, to serve the needs of the economy, businesses, and households. The motivation we witness in the vision will also prepare better consumers of financial services, just like we need to have more progressive entrepreneurs, a competent private sector, and a more responsible civil society. The financial sector is pleased to see the emphasis on applying science, technology, and digitalization in driving the transformation agenda. There is a need to sufficiently invest strategically in this area to derive real dividends. Tanzania has laid a solid foundation with real-life examples in the financial sector, telecommunications, healthcare, and logistics. The emphasis on priority use cases for digitalization and the use of science and technology in production, value addition, and distribution will not only resolve the productivity challenges, but also offer capabilities for growth and transformation of key economic and social sectors in Tanzania. The application of science and technology is also fundamental for driving competitiveness and maximizing impact. In this area, we are all the witnesses that the banking sector, together with the telecommunications, we have been the champions in this area. The advancement in digital services that we offer, the technology that has been installed or embodied within the delivery of the banking services, all this, it shows that the banking sector, together with the entire financial sector, we have a foundation already when it comes to technology usage and science. Allow me to now focus on the areas for consideration within the draft Vision 2050. I'll start with section 2.3.3, where it talks about innovative and diversified financing. We recommend that in that section, there should be an addition, the role of development finance institutions, the likes of TIB. Actually, it's not the likes, we have just few we can mention. It's TIB, we have TADB, we also have TMRC, which is a wholesale when it comes to mortgage. We have the pension systems as well as insurance. They are not clearly mentioned within that section. Our aspiration include the need to have effective and function long-term development finance instruments to support the delivery of the economic agenda. We'll also wish to see the government considers supporting these development financial institutions in order to obtain long-term funding. This has been a cry within our economy. For years, we kept on discussing why do we have the banking sector that somehow we keep on saying the rates are high when it comes to credit, but the concern is on the mismatch. We have projects that require long-term funding, but the banks that are saving those projects are actually able to offer short-term funding. So we request the consideration on this area to ensure that we achieve a dream to have those development institutions able to offer long-term funding in those projects. Section 2.3.4 on enabling business environment. Our recommendation is consider the need for policy and regulatory approaches that prioritize impact or outcomes and market development as opposed to siloed approach or risk management. This should also apply to the operating environment for the financial system to grow and deliver better value. The financial system is a bridge between our country and the rest of the globe too. We are also recommended to have friendly and less punitive tax regime. We hope that can be achieved before 2050. Unpredictable tax policies, tax administrative burden, and punitive tax policies should be resolved by then. There's a need to have, if possible, a gradual or perpetual reduction of taxes that are considered burdensome to banks. Consider providing some bank-specific tax framework or regime that will recognize the banking sector as a special sector. The current situation we have, the banking sector is treated just like any other business. So we keep on facing, in inverted comma, mistreatment because of the nature of the business that the banking sector is doing is completely different from other businesses. But as it is, we're all treated in the blanket provisions. Section 2.3.5, under the state-owned enterprises. We recommend that to consider including an aspiration that delves into 1, segment state-owned enterprises into those that are commercial and non-commercial and provide them with space to operate independently. This will allow for a free competition within the market where there are other private-owned organizations or enterprises. Consider diversing them using available capital markets, infrastructures, or PPPs. Identify sectors that can be in the hands of the private sector and create more space for private sector. Use state-owned enterprises strategically to position Tanzania competitively in EAC, SADC, and within the African continent free trade area. Section 2.3.6, under vibrant private sector. Our recommendation is add the need for the government personnel to have a positive mindset and play a more facilitative role in private sector development. The government should appreciate how the private sector contributes to economic growth and inclusive development outcomes. In fact, the government as it is, it has a stake in each enterprise because that is a source of its revenues. A better performing private sector is a more reliable and sustainable source of revenue and provider of jobs, forex earners, etc. The financial system will also benefit from this DNA because most of it is on the private sector side. Section 2.3.7, under strategic, regional, global engagement and economic diplomacy. Our recommendation is, the emphasis here is to ensure that the government builds competence in her people to harness opportunities for the benefits of a wide economy in the home country. The banking sector in Tanzania, expanding to other countries in EAC and SADC region. The quality of government engagement determines the ease of entry into foreign markets. Tanzania's banking and insurance sector will aim to have a significant presence in several markets in the regional blocks. At the moment, we have a few banks which have invested outside the Tanzanian borders, but they are still facing challenging that somehow is suffocating them to even think of having other branches more than what they have. So this is, again, another special request to see how this can be eased up so that we can have more banks and insurance companies having branches outside Tanzania. Under Pillar 2, that is human capital and social development, Section 3.3.1, they need to have a well-educated, skilled, and learning society. Our recommendations is that the financial sector is pleased to see this ambition elevated in the vision because a skilled society will propel its economic and social development faster. We can make a reference to the SDGs, why we have them and what is expected out of them. The financial sector will contribute by investing in avenues, that is education and practical learning, especially in science, technology, and mathematics. That produce, the financial sector will mobilize resources for this purpose. And we've already seen some of the banks are having special funding to ensure they promote or they invest more in these areas. The financial sector, in addition, together with other sectors, will benefit through improved productivity, high integrity and trust, and increased consumption of financial services. We believe if we have a well-educated society, they will also understand the value and importance of using the form of financial services, and will also benefit out of that. The need for preparing Tanzanians to be global citizens is a great ambition. Perhaps the desire to have dual citizenship can also be thought, because the financial sector can easily benefit by accessing expertise available or exporting the same, in addition to using diaspora as a source of investment and resource mobilization. We understand the initiatives and efforts that are being done within the government, but we thought we should have it well captured in there. A well and skilled population can also take care of its own environment for future sustainability. In the next 25 years, the government should not undermine this critical attribute. We feel that in order to develop industry-ready graduates or trainees, banking industry, we further recommend the following to be reflected in the Vision 2050. The need to address skills mismatch and gaps by implementing the following: enhanced adoption and implementation of workplace learning programs, that is internship, mentorship, and the like, by emphasizing the implementation of the shift from knowledge-based education and training to competence-based education and training. Enhanced industry-to-market linkages, that is skills review platforms and councils, if they can be in place. Recognition of prior learnings. We've seen challenges when somebody is coming with their prior learnings, but when they're presenting, asking for employment, some of those are being denied. And when they go for comparisons in those the identified institutions, they can either be highly downgraded, so somehow it discourages, especially those who are coming from other places. But we understand the need to have a quality level of education, but there have to be a consideration on recognition of prior learnings. We also recommend establishing a sustainable mechanism for funding skills development, incentivizing employers who invest in upskilling their employees. Section 3.3.2, together with 3.3.3, which refers to a healthy society and socially protected, inclusive society. The recommendation from TBA is that the financial sector is, again, motivated to note that the Vision 2050 is people-centered, as manifested in this pillar. While these two elements are indicators of human development, they are also a great opportunity for the financial sector. The pension system and insurance are likely to thrive and contribute much better by using these aspirations as opportunities for growth. The gender, disabled, and youth consideration taken in is a noble one, because we need to create and prepare future markets, the future, as well as the future consumers. The need for housing goes along with the growing population, urbanization or economic activities with huge implications on financing needs. Again, long-term financial resources can also be mobilized by growing the insurance and pension subsectors to finance the achievements of the development outcomes and foster the growth of the financial sector. From the risk management point of view, these are some of the mechanisms to build the resilient economy and society, hence de-risking the economy. Section 3.3.5, a capable and motivated workforce. This will be linked to the previous comments we just raised. Under Pillar 3, that is environmental integrity and climate change resilience. The financial sector, again, we are so pleased to see climate change given its deserving weight in this vision. On this, we also wish to link, even in the current implemented, or the current being implemented financial sector development master plan. This was one of the objective or the target that we had, that the financial sector needs to embrace and make sure when it comes to project financing, we should keep in mind the issues on climate change as well as sustainability. So to see this within a vision document is actually pleasing the industry. The financial sector is already engaged in these areas, both from adaptation and risk management. And I'm also glad to see a number of banks. I believe you're all aware. Some of them have come with special instruments to finance those projects under the capital markets. But also, we have also seen our regulator, they've issued some guiding, the guidelines that will guide the industry to make sure when they're dealing with the projects, again, the issue of climate risk is given a consideration. Major shifts such as demography, urbanization, industrialization, and technological advancements are increasingly influencing health outcomes, sustainability of economies, and prioritization. We would like to make an emphasis here that the government, in collaboration with the private sectors, should come up with quality interventions and invest in the necessary capabilities to deliver in this agenda. Land use planning and management is one of the areas that will unlock Tanzania's economic potential, reduce informalities prevalent in our economy, improve productivity because of increased investment, especially in agriculture, housing, forestry, fishing, and the like. Will also allow for creation of more jobs and minimize inequalities, especially among women and youth. For example, for food security, promoting FDI flows and increasing credit to private sector have a direct correlation with the availability of land plans, use cases, and management. The financial sector sees this as a great opportunity in the coming years, not only to address the collateral challenges in lending, but also as a driver of future growth of the financial system. The government should have very transparent strategies to address land issues that have been documented by the banking sector and other stakeholders for many years. Failure to address them will increase the pressure due to population growth. Recognizing the key role to promote sustainability that the banking sector has to play as a special enabling sector that as an enabling sector within the financial economic activities. The banking sector further recommends the following: a need to emphasize on developing and implementing solid nationally developed sustainability frameworks, such as sustainable finance taxonomy. We have started somewhere. We are not so sure where it got stuck, but I know European Union were helping the development of this taxonomy. And the need to have a national development goals frameworks that are inspired by international standards. Under Section 5, drivers for realizing the vision. The financial sector would like to commit to working with the government in the areas of research, innovation, science and technology, and digitization through funding and investments. In recent years, the financial sector has demonstrated and benefited substantially from research and technology adoptions, such as in digital banking. These benefits could be enjoyed by other sectors too. Looking ahead, evidence in decision-making and production models and delivery of goods and services are changing at an unprecedented speed. The adoption of technologies, such as social media platforms, by the population is faster than anticipated, even among the uneducated or rural people, forcing the financial sector to rethink how it drives the innovation agenda, how it serves clients, as well as protects them, especially when it comes to the cyber attacks. And now we have the social engineering issues, where we have the people posing as freelancers out there, and unfortunately, the pensioners, the old ones, are the ones who are mostly suffering on those challenges. But the sector, we are doing our best to make sure we educate them in a process of protecting them. The digitization agenda should adopt the use cases front rather than simply technologies. Digitization should primarily be linked to use cases in priority sectors or areas with great opportunities for transformation, such as enterprise, agriculture, education, health, logistics, finance, trade, government service delivery, etc. The quantification of benefits should be given weight to account for the desired impact and influence the facilitation needed through legislation, capacities, funding, or investment. The question of financing development should be expanded to allow for innovative financing and de-risking traditional mechanisms, such as reliance on fiscal arrangements. The ambition embedded in this vision suggests that new ways of financing the economy will be highly needed. Alternative financing avenues should be a priority going forward, and the role of the financial system clearly defined in them. The ask from the financial sector is that the government should promote innovation and competition and create policies that are impact-oriented and synchronized across sectors. Section 6 on transformative sectors. The financial sector appreciates the indication of the transformative sectors in the Vision 2050. The financial sector serves and will serve all the sectors of the economy. Given the complexity of our economy, we would like to know what will happen to the sectors that are not listed within the Vision 2050 document. Given that the vision guides the selection of those sectors, what analysis has been done and what criteria are used to decide on those sectors, meaning the transformative sectors. In addition, how did you define a transformation to be used to decide on the priority list? These are some of the areas that we come across and would like to get the clarity on that. When it comes to the implementation of this Vision 2050, we have seen in the document, there is a reference that says there will be long-term perspective plans in implementing the vision. In this area, we have a number of questions that we would like to pose for guidance. First of all, we'd like to understand, what do you mean by the long-term perspective plans? How are these prepared? What does it take to get them prepared? Who will be involved in preparing them? What comes of those long-term perspective plans, and who has the final say in it? If they've been planned already, who has the final say when it comes to the implementation? Will the financial sector be covered in the long-term perspective plans? Can we participate as well, the financial sector, in the designing as well as implementation? What will be expected from the financial sector if there is willingness and commitment to participate in preparing the long-term plans for the financial sector? Will the design of the long-term perspective plans for the financial sector utilize the existing policies, such as the one that I referred to earlier, the Financial Sector Development Master Plan 2020-2030, and others as the foundation? Because as the financial sector, we fully participated in the development of that master plan, and to this sector, that's our roadmap when it comes to the next 10 years, up to 2030. To what extent will the vision and the long-term perspective plans be binding to address unpredictabilities? If the financial sector wanted to participate, what would the process be for engaging in the creation of the long-term perspective plans? So because there was no mentioning of how the implementation will be, that's why we came with those questions. We thought they should be tabled for guidance. So that's what we have from the vision document. But again, we have additional bank-specific aspirations that we wish to be considered in the vision, the LTTPs, or policy frameworks. We have some goals and targets in some of the areas, and to us, those will be part of the measurables outcomes when it comes to 2050. Number one, customer satisfaction index. Our target is to achieve a satisfaction rating of over 90% across diverse population segments. Another goal or target on the bank population, much as we have the targets under the master plan 2030, that is reaching the 50%, when we're talking about 2050, we wish to increase the proportion of Tanzanians using banking services from around 25%, that is current estimation, 23, it was 22, but we believe it keeps on growing now, to 85 to 90% of the population, of the banked population. Digital trust. We wish to ensure 95% trust in digital banking platforms through strong security and fraud prevention systems. We also wish to have dispute resolution efficiency with the ability to resolve almost 95% of customer complaints within 5 days, which we believe that will signal reliability and customer focus. And our journey to achieve the above goals and targets will need a number of things. Number one, we'll need to build confidence and trust in the banking sector in Tanzania. We believe it's crucial to increase the confidence and trust of the Tanzanian population in the banking sector to achieve financial inclusion, economic growth, and sector resilience. By 2050, the banking sector aims for universal trust and reliance by addressing transparency, accessibility, customer protection, and alignment with the cultural and economic context of Tanzanians. Here is what the banking sector can aspire and focus on to ensure we serve the majority. To have a universal financial confidence, whereby we wish to ensure almost 90% of Tanzanians feel confident using formal banking services, trusting that their savings, loans, and investments are secured and they are beneficial to their lives. Global best practices establish Tanzania as a regional leader in financial transparency, security, and customer-centric banking. Also to have widespread adoptions, achieve 85 to 90% formal financial sector participation with significant representation from rural and informal economies. On these, the key focus areas will be to strengthen the banking secrecy and data privacy laws. And we understand the current one will become effective come end of this month, as ordered by the President. So under the strengthening of banking secrecy and data privacy laws, in this area, our focus will be to enhance banking secrecy laws to protect customer information from unauthorized access, ensuring robust mechanisms against data breaches. We'll also focus on adoption of data protection frameworks aligned with global standards such as GDPR while tailoring them to local needs. We'll also focus on educating customers on the measures in place to protect their financial and personal data in order to foster trust. Another key focus area will be to promote private ownership of assets. In this, we'll be advocating for policies that safeguard private ownership of financial and physical assets, reducing fears of state interventions or expropriation. Expand access to financial products that encourage asset ownership, such as investment accounts, bonds, and retirement plans. Strengthen legal framework around asset inheritance and ownership to ensure clarity and security for customers. And the third key focus area will be transparency and customer protection, where we need to enhance transparency in charges to build customer confidence that they are not being exploited. Develop stronger consumer protection regulations. We have them in place at the moment, but there's a need to strengthen them, including quick dispute resolution mechanism for fraud or service-related issues. Mandate clear communications in Kiswahili and other local languages in terms and conditions of financial products. I hope by then banks in those regions should be able to have people who can speak the native language in that area. We have seen that happening in other countries where when it comes to service delivery, they pick the people who can understand the language of that community and they use that language to deliver the services. So for this, we are actually requesting to have a mandate, to mandate clear communication in Kiswahili, and if possible, other local languages where necessary. Another focus area will be ethical banking practices, where there will be a need to combat fraud and corruption by implementing strict internal controls and collaborating with regulators to enforce accountability. Regularly audit banking operations to ensure adherence to ethical standards and publicize results to showcase integrity. Incentivize whistleblowing and ensure protection for employees and customers who report unethical practices. At this area, we are also glad to say that at TBA, we have the code of conduct that's also emphasizing on these areas. Another focus area will be accessibility and customer-centric innovation, where there's a need to address service accessibility by expanding digital banking and agent networks into rural areas, reducing the urban-rural divide that is currently existing. Introduce customer-centric financial products tailored to varying income levels, lifestyles, and cultural context. Invest in financial literacy programs to ensure banking processes are well adopted and empower the population to make informed financial decisions. The sixth focus area is digital security and cyber resilience. Strengthen cybersecurity infrastructure to prevent online banking fraud and protect digital transactions. Also build public awareness about safe online banking practices and fraud detection, creating confidence in digital platforms. In this area, we also believe the ongoing project of Digital Tanzania will have this well considered, and the financial sector, which I believe in the end will all be linked to that, will benefit from the government initiatives when it comes to that digital security and cyber resilience. Another focus area is financial literacy and public education. Partner with schools, NGOs, and local communities to integrate financial literacy programs into education systems. We have started somewhere, but we need to have a wider spread on this kind of engagements to ensure every Tanzanians at least understand the basics when it comes to usage of financial services. Use media campaigns to highlight customer rights and communicate the safety of banking. The eighth focus area, enhanced governance and regulatory alignments. Work closely with the regulator, that is Bank of Tanzania, together with other regulators to improve regulatory oversight and ensure compliance with international standards. Promote independent and transparent governance structures within banks, reducing risk of political interferences or misuses. Cultural sensitivity and inclusion. Design products aligned with Islamic finance principles for population that prefer Sharia-compliant services, as well as develop trust through partnership with community leaders, cooperative and informal savings groups like Vikoba. Another focus area is recognition programs. Establish customer reward programs such as loyalty schemes or low-interest loans for long-term account holders to incentivize engagement. Publicize success stories of customers benefiting from banking services, fostering a sense of relatability, and trust. Another focus area is to have enhanced formalization of the economy to expand financial inclusion and widen the tax base. Expand business and entrepreneurship education. On this, with emphasis on importance of formalization. Formalization has been a challenge, and I recall during the discussion on the recent Finance Act, on those pre-engagements, this was strongly tabled that the governments need to invest and see how best this can be done at the earliest possible. Because we have a concern when it comes to financing SMEs, but they lose or they're missing these opportunities because of lack of formalization. So we strongly suggest that this should be considered. Introduce incentive packages to motivate formalization and discourage informality in the economy. So that was under building trust. The area that we also wish to aspire by 2050 is to focus on agriculture to serve over 130 million people, with around 75 million people living in urban areas by 2050, and serve the African continent free trade area market. This number we captured from the vision, but that by 2050, it's expected that the population will be at that number. So the banking sector wants to be part of that journey to ensure that we support the agri-finance or the agri-sector to ensure we are able to cater for that. From the perspective of the banking sector, agriculture, the rural areas are critical for Tanzania's Vision 2050, given their contribution to livelihoods and the national economy. The banking sector would like to contribute to the transformation of agriculture in the coming 25 years. Historically, this sector has received the least attention from the banking sector. But we understand there are great opportunities that are going to unfold for the financial sector to tap into both in Tanzania and in Africa, when it comes to agriculture financing. Below is an expanded view of what the banking sector can aspire to achieve in the agriculture sector transformation by 2050. We are targeting to have an increased percentage of formal credit to agriculture sector to at least 20% of total bank lending. At the moment, it stood at 8%, somewhere at 10%. We are also targeting to achieve 100% financial inclusion for rural households through digital and urgent banking solution. We also wish to reduce post-harvest losses by 50% through targeted investment in storage and logistics. And our journey to attain the above goals will be through a number of target areas. Number one is agriculture finance. At this, we have a vision to transform agriculture into a modern, profitable, and sustainable sector through innovative financing tailored to farmers' needs. Our aspiration in this area will be to expand financing to farmers and agribusinesses by design specialized loan products with flexible terms to suit the seasonality of agricultural income, scale up microloans and input financing for smallholder farmers with a focus on key crops like maize, coffee, cashew nuts, and the like. Facilitate long-term financing for agribusinesses investing in irrigation, logistics, value addition, mechanization, access to markets, and storage facilities. And I'm glad to see that this was also part of the plans within the budget 2024-2025. So they need long-term financing, at least to have projects within this area. There's a need to address risk mitigation through insurance, where we'll partner with insurance companies to offer crop and livestock insurance, protecting farmers against risks like drought, pests, or floods. Encourage weather-indexed insurance products that reduce administrative hurdles and provide timely payouts. Also, financiers need to strengthen value chain financing by developing financing models that cover the entire agricultural value chain, from input suppliers to processors and exporters. Use contract farming arrangements to secure repayments and reduce risk. There's also a need to have digital solutions for access to finance. So promote digital platforms for loan applications and disbursement to overcome the challenge of physical access in rural areas. The good things, banks have already started investing in this. Leverage mobile money integrations and seamless transactions. Another area under supporting agriculture by 2050 is to have a supported agriculture to modernize it. Our vision is to foster a shift from subsistence farming to high-value commercial agriculture, with aspiration to promote mechanization, invest in green and climate-smart agriculture, enhance market access, and also the third area under agri promotion by 2050 is to have rural financial inclusion, with a vision to have banking service closer to rural communities, ensuring every household and businesses can access tailored financial products. Our aspiration in this area is to strengthen rural banking infrastructure, improve saving culture, as well as have credit for rural enterprises. Another area is supporting youth and women in agriculture, with a vision to empower youth and women in rural areas to lead in modern agriculture and agribusiness. Aspiration will be youth empowerment, as well as to empower women in agriculture to come with the right products. In the area of infrastructure development in rural areas, our vision is to unlock the economic potential for rural areas by addressing infrastructure gaps. We'll need to support rural connectivity, as well as invest in storage and processing facilities. But we also need to have partnership and policy advocacy, so as to foster public-private partnerships and advocate for supportive policies to create an enabling environment for rural transformation. In the area of driving factors and ways of working, we need to have collaboration, innovation, protecting consumers, serving with dignity and fairness, and proactively seeking feedback. Need to have data evidence and insights, drive a DNA for evidence-based decision-making across sectors, public and private, to maximize business outcomes and achieve economic and social development goals. In concluding, once again, we would like to thank the government for this great opportunity to share or validate the concrete proposals that define Tanzania we want by 2050. We are encouraged that the process has been consultative and inclusive. The process has allowed the voices of many to be heard, so has the banking sector. This is the spirit that creates high ownership and commitment to delivering the development outcomes. The process has also allowed us to pitch the position, the role of the private sector, and what the future holds for them. The financial sector is also part of the private sector ecosystem as a player or enabler. The approach used to design the vision demonstrates quality and high leadership by our president and the entire executive office, facilitated by the Planning Commission. This has been an enormous clarity in terms of the future of our country. The financial sector sees itself differently after being given this opportunity to shape the vision. To us, it is about delivering our intermediation function much better and starting to imagine the growth opportunities that are amenable to the nature and the size of the economy Tanzania will afford in the next 25 years. Luckily, the financial sector is committed to making a 10% contribution to GDP by 2030. So to us, that's the foundation already. We are encouraged that the financial sector will build on this. We will mobilize our members and other industries within the financial sector to participate in the design of the long-term perspective plans through expertise, funding, and ideation. We'll be keen to hear from relevant authorities on how to 2025. And I guess that's when we'll have this officially launched. Thank you. Asanteni-san.
This was very, very comprehensive review, isn't it? Oh, thank you very much, TBA, for such. Kwa lugha ya mtaani ningesema mmeupiga mwingi. Kwa kweli mmeitendea haki hii rasimu. Sasa kwa namna ambavyo imetoka hii document, is comment kwa namna ya maandishi ambayo tunaamini tutapewa na tutazifanyia kazi, labda for a very burning issues or comment or maybe need for clarification from the floor, before I invite Professor Semboja or Dr. Rora to provide clarification on issue that has been raised. We may provide 5-10 minutes if there is any burning issue from the floor, please, or if there is a comment or yes. No, there.
Thank you very much. My name is Abubakar Athman Ali, the Managing Director of Amana Bank. First and foremost, let me congratulate Tuse, the CEO of TBA, for representing the banks. And as she has said in his initial statement, that this is a comprehensive review by all the banks. Compliance background. I think the Vision 2050 document has not done justice to alternative financing. If I'm to quote the Minister for Finance, Honorable Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, during the 7th African Islamic Finance Summit that was held here in Dar es Salaam on 8th July 2021. And if I'm to quote him verbatim, he actually said he expressed the government ambition to make Tanzania the hub of Islamic banking and finance by making the reforms needed. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank the government for the reforms that we've seen in the Finance Act number 6 of 2024, which has effectively affected the Bank of Tanzania Act number 5 of 2006 as far as Sharia compliant banking is concerned. And here I'm not talking for Amana Bank only, which is a fully fledged Sharia compliant bank, but we also have our sisters who have windows in Sharia compliant banking. So I think it is one area that we need to focus more. Thank you.
Yeah, asante sana. Thank you so much for that. Karibu.
Thanks a lot. I'm Herman Kasekende from Standard Chartered Bank. I'd like to, first of all, recognize our ED for having represented us so ably. This is an enormous task, I recognize. I just wanted to add something on the, given that the vision for 2050 for the country, in terms of articulating the actions around regional and continental payment systems, more aligned to the Africa free continental trade area, because it's going to be very definitive in terms of the flow of trade within Africa and for the intra-Africa trade. This should enable the settlement through local currencies where possible, instead of dependence on the hard currencies. But also, I think it should see the interoperability of both the mobile wallets and clearing systems, all of which will reduce the costs of transactions and leverage regional integration. So I just thought that that is something that will be powerful and critical to make sure that there is a section that clearly addresses that. Thank you.
Asante sana. Karibu.
Asante. Kwa majina naitwa Onesmo Rudomia, natokea Azania Bank. Kwanza ni shukuru uongozi wetu wa TBA, wamekava mambo yetu mengi, lakini nianze kwa opposite kidogo, kinyume kidogo. Kama ningelikuwa na mamlaka, kwa wale mliotuletea rasimu leo mngerizaini. Na sababu kubwa ni moja. Ukisoma malengo ya jumla ya rasimu namba 6, inaongelea kukifanya Kiswahili kiwe lugha yenye mvuto duniani na Afrika. Alafu sisi wakati tunaanza kuulizana, tuongee Kiswahili au Kiingereza. Hichi tulichokiandika ni kwa ajili ya nani? Kama sisi ndani ya taifa letu tukijadili malengo yetu na lengo mojawapo ni hilo, halafu tunaogopa kukiongea. Na hili linakuja kwenye elimu yetu. Ukisoma utangulizi wa hayo malengo ya jumla, tumeandikiwa kwamba tuna lengo la kufikia kipato kwa dola za Kimarekani. Halafu tuko Tanzania na tuna shilingi yetu. Matokeo yake tunalifanya taifa, alama za taifa zinaitwa madafu. Ni kwa sababu sisi kwenye nyaraka zetu kwa watu ambao tunatakiwa kusimamia hatufanyi. Ningeomba kwenye tangulizi zetu, na kwa sababu tumeamua kukiandika Kiswahili, tuziheshimuni tunu za taifa letu. Dola ya Kimarekani toke, tuandikeni Tanzania shilingi. Baada ya hapo, niombe pia kwenye swala la misingi imeshaongelewa, tuhakikishe uchumi wetu hizi idara za kifedha kweli zinasimama na zinapewa kipaumbele kwenye masuala ya ushuru. Ni aibu kama tutakuwa tunafika sehemu idara za fedha zinakufa, tunaletewa na watu kutoka nje kuja kutusaidia kuzinyanyua. Tunapewa na masharti ambayo yawezekana tusifanye. Kwa hiyo sisi tuwe wa kwanza kuzilinda, kama tunavyosema kwamba tunalinda utalii, tunatoa na vipaumbele na hueni kwenye ushuru. Tuangalie na sekta ambazo zinabeba. Sekta yoyote ya fedha kwenye nchi yoyote ikifa, uchumi umeshakufa. Tuangalieni kwa nchi za wenzetu ambazo matatizo haya yametokea. Hayakuanzia kwenye utalii, yalianzia kwenye sekta za kifedha. Kwa hiyo kwenye misingi ya dira tunaomba sana hili neno au hii sekta ibebe sehemu kubwa. Lakini kwenye swala la kujenga rasilimali watu tuna tatizo napo. Yawezekana tusisubiri mpaka dira itoke. Wakati mwingine naamini kamati kuna yale ambayo yanatakiwa yapelekwe kwa haraka zaidi. Kwenye swala la elimu, kujenga nguvu kazi, haiwezekani tukaruhusu katika taifa letu kuandaa wataalamu katika nchi yetu ambao tunaruhusu kuanzia darasa la kwanza au awali mpaka chuo kikuu mtoto hajui kufagia. Hajui kufagia shuleni, hajui kufagia wapi. Bahati mbaya unaweza kukuta amesoma boarding mpaka chuo kikuu. Kwa hiyo ni lazima tamko litolewe, ni kwamba katika elimu tunayoiandaa kwa mtu ambaye atakuwa na uwezo wa kukidhi soko, tunamwandaa kwa ajili ya kufanya kazi. Watu wa Marekani, watu wa Ulaya wanatoka huko kuja Tanzania, kuja kufanya kazi za kijamii. Sisi elimu yetu hairuhusu. Tunaandaa taifa la namna gani? Niwaombe pia kwenye dira yetu liwekwe hadharani neno rushwa, iwe kwenye misingi mikubwa, ile misingi ya kuibeba dira. Tutengeneze jamii ambayo haina rushwa. Lakini cha mwisho, ningeomba sana katika taifa letu kwenye dira yetu iweke wazi, ni aibu kiongozi yeyote wa ngazi yoyote kwa kitengo chochote kusimama kwenye vyombo vya habari kuongelea Watanzania. Hatuwezi. Hatujawahi kusikia tunataka kubinafsisha benki kuu au tunataka kubinafsisha jeshi. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu Watanzania wanaweza. Kama vitengo vikubwa kama hivyo tunavisimamia, kwa nini vitengo vidogo vidogo vya ndani tusisimamie? Tunaua uchumi wetu wenyewe. Kwa hiyo ni aibu kwa kiongozi yoyote, Mtanzania yoyote ambaye atadiriki kupandikiza mbegu ya namna hiyo kwa watoto, kwamba hatuwezi. Pamoja na hilo, ni waombe sana kamati, mjitahidi kuhakikisha kwamba katika elimu yetu tunapopewa donation na mtu yeyote na shirika lolote, tusiandikiwe. Kama wameamua mtu kusaidia mtoto anaposoma darasa la kwanza mpaka chuo kikuu, dawati pale mbele limeandikwa donated by USAID. Madhara yake ni nini? Hatujiwezi kama Watanzania. Kwa hiyo katika kuhakikisha elimu yetu inajenga watoto wenye uwezo wa kujitegemea, tuhakikishe kinachoonekana ni Tanzania. Kama wengine wameamua kuja kutusaidia, tunajuana nao sisi na wao, tutaona namna ya kuiweka pale kama bango, lakini sio kila siku mtoto anaamka anajua kwamba mimi bila huyu nisingefika hapa. Haiwezekani tukajenga taifa la namna hiyo. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana. Nadhani huyu mchangiaji wetu wa mwisho, lakini hatujafunga in case there are other burning issues, bado tunaweza tukapokea kwa maandishi. Kwa interest of time, naomba mniruhusu sasa nimkaribishe Professor Semboja. Kulikuwa kuna issues za clarify, aweze kutoa clarification, and then atamkaribisha acting ES. Lakini sisi kwa upande wetu wa uandishi tumesikia.
Asante sana mwezeshaji wetu, nashukuru sana. Kusema kweli, lengo la session hii sio kutoa majibu ya maswali au maoni ambayo yanatolewa. Lengo lilikuwa kuchukua maoni, tunakwenda tunayaangalia na kuincorporate kwa lengo la kuboresha rasimu. Kwa hivyo kusema kweli hapa sitatoa majibu au majawabu kwa mambo mengine ambayo yamejitokeza, isipokuwa yale machache ambayo nidhani kwamba ni muhimu tukayatolea majibu au explanation, ili kama ikionekana kwamba rasimu haita incorporate, ieleweke kwa nini haita incorporate, au kama yalikuwa kwa kweli yanahitaji clarification, kwa maana ya kwamba baadaye labda yatawahamasisha mlete tena comments nyingine, then ni vyema tuka clarify. Sasa nianze na moja ambalo nilidhani kwamba ni muhimu liwe wazi. Tofauti kati ya dira na mkakati. Dira, Mheshimiwa Waziri yeye huwa anazungumzia njozi. Unataka kufanana vipi, unataka Tanzania iwe ya namna gani miaka hiyo ijayo. Sasa kama unataka wakati huo ule milo 4 au 5 badala ya mlo mmoja, unataka kuvaa vipi and so on. Hiyo ni dream, lakini namna gani ufikie pale, sasa hiyo ni strategy. Na document ambayo tumeitayarisha ni document ya njozi inayosema tunataka kufanana vipi na namna gani. Na ndio sababu ukiangalia mule ndani maswala ya kistrategy, maswala ya namna gani tufikie pale, kwa kweli hayapo. Na kwa kiasi kikubwa njozi haitaenda kwenye sectors sana, unless zile sectors, ndio sababu tukaziweka sectors kule kwenye transformative. Lakini mle ndani huoni sector specific issues. Hata kule kwenye transformative hatuna sector specific issues, kwa sababu haya ni maeneo ambayo tunadhani ni ya kimkakati zaidi. Hilo nitaka sasa, kuna swala ambalo limeulizwa ambalo linazungumzia LTPP, long term perspective plan. Huu mpango elekezi wa miaka 25, nadhani sasa ule ni tunataka sasa kuifanya interpretation ya vision. Unafanya interpretation ya aspiration ulioiweka, unasema sasa hii ni maana yake ni nini na inahitaji kitu gani ili nifikie pale. Sasa hiyo exercise ndio inaanza, nadhani inaanza kesho. Hiyo exercise inaanza kesho, na bahati nzuri wajumbe wengine ambao wako kwenye hii timu wako kule, kwa hiyo na wengine wengi ambao wamesha, lakini ukweli ni kwamba sasa hapo ndio sectors zitakuja kuelezea tunataka kufanya nini ili tufikie kule. Tutakuwa my hope na kile tunachokiita labs, sijui Kiswahili chake, laboratory, ambapo sasa kwa mfano sekta ya benki itakapokuja pale, sasa yale mengi ambayo yamezungumzwa sasa yatazungumzwa mle ndani. That kind of detail itazungumzwa mle ndani. Kwa hivyo nilidhani, kwa hiyo participation ya sectors itakuwepo wakati huo pia, and so on and so forth. Hilo la kwanza, na kusema kweli especially presentation iliyofanyika, mengi yaliyozungumzwa yatasaidia sana kwenye kutengeneza sasa ule mpango elekezi wa miaka 25 na eventually nadhani mpango wa miaka 5 and so on. Kwa hiyo hii paper mengine yatatolewa sasa ambayo tunadhani yanafiti vision. Yako maeneo kwa mfano ya regulation. Maeneo ya regulation ni maeneo ambayo hata ukisoma unaiona kabisa. Sasa labda inawezekana haikutokea wazi sana, lakini yale sasa yatachukuliwa. Lakini yale mengine ambayo ni very specific, proportion ya Watanzania ambayo wanatumia benki and so on, yale sasa yatakuwa reserved, yataenda kule kwenye nani. Kwa hiyo tunashukuru sana kwamba actually tumeanza hii exercise ya kukusanya maoni ambayo mengi yataingia kwenye LTPP, lakini tutaangalia pia yale ambayo tutaona namna gani ya kuingiza kwenye vision. Kwa hiyo timu itaiangalia vizuri sana hii paper, ita-extract yale maeneo. Yako maeneo ambayo tulidhani yanaeleweka, lakini tumeona yamejirudia tena. Sasa yale kwa kweli tutaona namna gani ya kuyaboresha. Kwa mfano eneo la regulation, some of the areas ambazo ni overregulated, mmezungumzia areas za state intervention. Hizo zote ni areas ambazo perhaps ni muhimu zikaangaliwa. Inawezekana hazikujitokeza wazi, lakini ni areas kwa kweli za kivision ambazo ni muhimu zikaangaliwa. Kwa hiyo tutaangalia na kutoa clarification. Kuna kwa mfano transformative sector iko ndani mle. Sasa sisi tulivyoandika tulidhani inaeleweka, lakini kumbe haiko wazi. Zile zilizowekwa zile ni kwamba tumechukua zile sectors ambazo kwa sasa zina mchango mkubwa, na tunadhani kwamba zinaweza zikachukuliwa kama sekta za kimageuzi. Sekta za kimageuzi tumezungumzia vigezo vya kuzichagua. Tanzania, nchi yetu hii, ina sectors 25. Sasa at any one moment huwezi kutegemea serikali ikasema tutaweka nguvu kwenye sekta 25, haiwezekani. Lakini unasema kuna sectors ambazo zikiwekewa nguvu ya kutosha zitaleta mageuzi makubwa kwenye uchumi wa nchi yetu. Sasa pale tumepiki mifano kwa sababu ya hali ilivyo sasa hivi. Sasa mle tunaamini kwamba tutapiki wakati wa kuchagua sasa sekta za kimageuzi. Some of them zitatoka pale, lakini inawezekana kabisa nyingine zikatoka nje ya pale, kwa kuangalia vile vigezo vya employment, vigezo vya forward and backward linkages, namna gani sekta ina link na wengine, kigezo cha foreign exchange generation and so on. Sasa unachukua vile vigezo, unasema hivi, kama serikali ina uwezo wa kupika 3 au 4 kuzipa nguvu kwa sababu zitakuwa za kimageuzi, unatumia ile unapiki. Sasa inawezekana kwa sababu baada ya miaka 10 ijayo ikajitokeza sekta ambayo haiko kwenye zile tulizoweka, ziko sijui kama 10. Hiyo haitazuia serikali kuipiki ikaipa kipaumbele. Lakini obviously private sector iko kila mahali. Kwa hiyo zile ambazo haziko pale haina maana hazifanyiwi kazi, hapana. Zinafanyiwa kazi, lakini sasa zile zina players ambao wanazichagua kwa criteria zao tofauti. Mimi nikiwa kwenye private sector na criteria tofauti, ninaweza nikapick sector ambayo haiko pale nikainvest huko and so on and so forth. Kwa hiyo ndio, lakini tulidhani tumeweka vizuri, lakini apparently kumbe tutaangalia namna ya kuangalia areas zile ambazo zipo lakini haziko very clear, tutaziangalia. Kuna ambazo hazipo, tunadhani kwamba pia tutaangalia, alafu tutaona namna ya kuziaccommodate kwenye document. Na kwa hivyo tunashukuru sana. Kuna mengine ambayo ni implementation nimeyazungumza. Tutaangalia, tutasema haya tutayapeleka kwenye LTPP. And so na tutashirikiana kuitengeneza pamoja kama nilivyosema LTPP, ili iweze kuinterpret vision yetu na tuweze kufikia njozi ambazo tumeziweka kwenye vision yetu. Mengine nitamwachia Des ayazungumze, lakini kusema kweli kama nilivyosema, lengo kwa kweli ilikuwa ni kupata maoni ili tuweze kuboresha vision document, lakini we are happy kwamba kwa kweli kumekuwa na maoni ambayo yanatupeleka beyond the vision document, na kwa kweli tunawashukuru sana wenzetu kwa yote. Sasa nimkaribishe Des. Swali chake huwa nakisahau wakati mwingine. Ni naibu katibu mtendaji aje ajibu yale ya kwake, lakini pia atufungie kikao chetu hiki. Asante sana.
Mr. Thebotai, Chairman of TBA, Tuse John, Executive Director of TBA, Professor Mbodia, Vice Chairperson of the core team for preparing the vision, my fellow leaders and staff of the Planning Commission. I'd like to start by thanking each and all of you, and in particular, the banking fraternity. You have come prepared, organized, and you have brought us rich and very insightful comments. And with the caveat that was given by the Vice Chair, we will look through them. For those which are more strategic and implementary in nature, they'll go to the relevant documents, but the rest they'll be taken care of. And the Vice Chair of the core team has explained that this is a vision document where the document ya maono, and there'll be implementation strategy. And as it has been saying, we have a long-term perspective plan, which is a long-term plan for 25 years. It will have strategies, it will have targets, but all of these will also be in high level. The long-term perspective plan will be implemented through medium-term plans, which are usually 5-year plans. Now, those will go into more depth for a shorter period of time, for the 5-period year span. So it have more in-depth strategies and plans and measured and targets that can be measured. So this is just the beginning, and as it has been said, the process of preparing the LTVP is soon to be launched, and it's also done in the same way. We have a small core team because it's difficult to have like 100 people working on the document. So we usually have a core team of experts from the government and outside the government who are competent in the various sectors to come and prepare like an initial working document, which is then also, and then is also, we get inputs from the sectors as it goes until we get the final document. And usually we have, for all of these documents, the LTPP, the 5-year plans, and the 5-year plans are usually implemented through annual development plans. And in the preparation of all these documents, there are consultation sessions with all the key stakeholders, including the private sector. And I have been involved in the preparation of plans in my previous life. And I have to say that when we usually invited the private sector, I have to say, mwamko hakuwa mzuri sana. Lakini I'm thinking either maybe we didn't publicize enough, but I think going forward, seeing these reactions, I think the stakeholder contributions are going to be increasing. And then there was a question about the vision will be legislated. The final step before the president launches the vision is a parliamentary session that will debate this draft, and that's why we are calling it a draft vision. So this is the first draft that is being validated. Then the second draft of the vision that will incorporate comments from these validation sessions will be submitted to the Prime Minister at the end of January. And after that, it will go through the government approval process, and then it will end up in Parliament. And once the Parliament sort of, for lack of a better word, ratifies the document, it is then that it will cease being called a draft, and it will be launched by the President, and it will be legislated. The last comment, I'd like to say this in Swahili. Hatuogopi wala hatukionea aibu Kiswahili. Lakini tumeita sekta ya mabenki ambayo ni private sector. Hii sekta ina watendaji ambao ni Watanzania na wengine si Watanzania. Kwa hiyo nia ya kutumia Kiingereza ilikuwa kila aliyekuja hapa aweze kuelewa ujumbe ambao tunao. Na tunaamini kwamba Watanzania wengi tuliokuwa hapa kwenye hadhara hii tunaelewa Kiingereza. Kwa hiyo nia hasa ya kutumia Kiingereza kwenye hadhara hii ilikuwa ujumbe wetu ueleweke, kwa sababu hii sekta ya mabenki ina wawekezaji wa Kitanzania na wa kigeni. Kwa hiyo nia ilikuwa ni hiyo tu, lakini napenda tu kuweka wazi kwamba hatukionei aibu wala hatukiogopi Kiswahili. Kwa hiyo baada ya kusema hayo, nadhani I'd like to thank each and all of you once again and invite you to all our other, and invite you and to say that this is not the end of receiving comments. You can also give comments online. At the Planning Commission, we are open. You can write to the Executive Secretary. So please, we'd like this process to be as participatory as possible. And you're all welcome. Thank you so much.
Asante sana. Nimekumbushwa jambo ambalo unajua sisi wengine huwa tunasahau. Nitaomba wale niliowaomba waweke viti hapa hivi tupate kumbukumbu picha ya pamoja. Kwa hiyo nitaomba kwa dakika kidogo tuvumiliane ili tuweke rekodi ya picha pia. Kwa hiyo ni waombe viongozi mkisimama wasogeze kidogo mbele viti ili wale wajumbe wengine wajipange nyuma